White looks to throw. He wants Boyd deep. Help over the top. Boyd adjusts. 1,000 and a score. Wilson drives in. She scores. Jensen, Grayson, give and go. Jensen elevates and she slams it down again. Arlo, top of the box, a drive, and he fires it in. As Concannon hammers the back line. Striplings fires it up. Spencer in space. Just got it. Touchdown, Sarah Catholic. Blocks quick out to Martin. Breaks the tackle. Martin cuts far side. There goes Quinton. See you later. One play. Touchdown, Leopards. Quinton Martin for 6 from 36.
Welcome into episode number 90 of the Valley Sports Guys podcast here from His Place Coffee Community and more in Monessen. I am Jose Negron, joined by Jeremy Slew and Alex Lyons on this Wednesday afternoon, technically, as we get started here at 12:10 p.m. Thank you for joining us once again for another episode of the VSG podcast. Boys, a lot to discuss here this morning. We have some playoffs or championships in soccer, championships in volleyball, obviously some first-round football action. I think we should probably get started with at least one of our WPIAL champions that we've crowned over the last couple of weeks on Friday night. Friday night didn't just belong to the football teams in the Mon Valley. It also belonged to a pair of Mon Valley soccer teams that were on under the bright lights at Highmark Stadium in Station Square, as Bentworth, a 3-2 overtime victory over the Charleroi Cougars. Ryan Colbert with the game-winning goal in OT, as Bentworth needed a second-half comeback to pick up the win. Charleroi a 2-0 lead in the first half, and then Bentworth able to rally in the second for their first WPIAL championship in program history. What can we say about this Bentworth Bearcats team? I mean, throughout the WPIAL playoffs, 3 overtime wins. They had a 5-0 victory squeezed in there in the quarterfinals. But this is a Bentworth team that, we kind of knew coming into the playoffs would be tough to beat. They kind of took their game to another level and got those wins when they needed them.
And, you got to give them so much credit in that championship game. It's kind of easy to get into the mindset, well, here we go again. We've lost to Charleroi twice this year. We're down 2-0 in the second half. You're still down a goal with, about 4 minutes left in that game. You come back, you tie it, and you don't just tie it. You take it to overtime where Charleroi, I'd had it on for, I think, the majority of that overtime period after my game Friday night, and it was just Charleroi looked absolutely gassed in that instance. And both these teams have been in extra time a lot. So if you wonder, was it just one guy had some extra legs? And Bentworth, big-time goal, big-time program-changing goal, altering that one. And, they just have continued to roll into the state playoffs as well.
You hate to be cliche about it, but, they always say it's hard to beat a team 3 times. I don't know, I understand Coach DeColey, was a Class A Coach of the Year and everything, but I think, looking for our what do we call our All-Stars? I don't even remember the Fab 15.
Fab 15.
It's you got to take a hard look at Nick Malarby for whatever adjustment it was that was made was obviously pretty effective, and Charleroi had no answer. And then, like you said, a career-defining, program-defining goal in overtime to win that game for the Bearcats. So obviously, a lot of congratulations to them for winning the first title in program history.
I think, let's be honest, I would be shocked if on Tuesday, November 14th, we don't get the 4th meeting. I think we're going to see Bentworth and Charleroi possibly again one more time this year.
And it's going to be tough for Bentworth in this next round. Of course, we've got to mention that they picked up their first state playoff win in program history with a 3-0 victory over Seneca last night. It's going to be difficult for them to get past Burrell. I mean, Last time that they played in the WPIAL semifinals, it was a close game. I mean, Ryan Messner had an early goal, Bentworth was trying to hold on to the lead, and then Burrell was able to score with under 3 minutes to go in regulation to tie it up, send it into overtime, and then Messner hits the game winner. So
Burrell 9-0 victory over Red Bank Valley in that first round.
Yeah, so it's going to be another big matchup. Two teams that now have seen each other once and kind of know what to expect in this upcoming quarterfinal matchup on Saturday. Site and time still to be determined, I believe, but I think we kind of predicting maybe a Peters Township site for them on
That's
Saturday.
where they played last time,
right.
so I wouldn't be surprised at all.
So it's a good thing for Bentworth too. They're playing another Whitfield team, so they're going to get a closer game. So in terms of travel, but it's going to be a very tough matchup for them to get past a Burrell team that was right on their heels. Took some time for them to get going. Took some time for them to find the back of the net. Kind of waited last minute on that one, but it's not going to be a cakewalk. But none of these playoff games really, aside from their 5-0 win they had in the district quarterfinals, and then a 3-0 win, a little more comfortable last night against Seneca. This is a Bentworth team that's been pretty battle tested throughout the playoffs. with those 3 wins in extra time.
Yeah, and a number of district champions went down in that first round of the. Red Bank Valley, the District 9 champ, 9-0 loss to Burrell. Then you had Seneca, who's the District 10 champ, lost to Bentworth. Richland, who was the District 6 champ, losing to Charleroi. And then Kalamazoo Township losing to Tullahocken, who is going to be Charleroi's next opponent on Saturday as well. As Charleroi, they took extra time to get there. But again, both these teams one win away from meeting each other in the semifinals to push their way to the state champ. One of them, good chance of making the state championship out of those two teams.
Yeah, we mentioned how Bentworth's battle tested. Charleroi is too. They've picked up some big goals in extra time. They got the 1-0 win on Arlo's penalty kick in the semis against Seton LaSalle. They played an overtime game against Bentworth, of course. And even though you didn't get the better of that result, you've played in some tight games. You've kind of battled some adversity, and that's only going to help this Cougars team moving forward as well.
Yeah, a week from Saturday will be the championship games.
Quarterfinals
Saturday, semifinals on Tuesday the 14th. And, knock on wood, we get Charleroi and Bentworth in there, and a good chance maybe NFHS has us go cover those two local squads, which would be nice for us as well.
Right, yeah, Charleroi and Bentworth definitely making soccer season extend a little further than usual. Nice to see them get some first-round wins last night. Hope to see them make some further runs here through the state playoffs. But Bentworth was not the only local team to become a Whitfield champion over the last week. Sarah Catholic with their first Whitfield championship in volleyball in program history with a thrilling victory over Bishop Canavan on Saturday at Peters Township's AHN Arena. They get the Whitfield title, and we saw Sarah Catholic last night against Cochranton in the first round of the state playoffs. Them get a 4-set victory over the Cardinals. And it seems like right now this Sarah team, is kind of playing their best volleyball. They've battled some adversity as well, but it seems like they've, are playing good volleyball right now at the right time.
Yeah, and you look at if you're Sarah Catholic, I went down to AHN for that championship game after watching them in probably one of the better matches I've seen in a long time versus GCC in the semis. And, they battled adversity in that last set. It was kind of like, is this Sarah, again, going to blow a set lead that looks like it's going to be a chance for them to win the title? And is this going to end up going 5? But able to come back, win it 30-28. Sarah Catholic played in 4 extra point sets in the semis in the championship, including 3 against GCC.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that cut out a little bit.
Oh, technical
difficulties here. Check.
I'm good.
There we go. We're getting it fixed.
Let's try that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Can
boy.
Can you turn me down a little bit?
Always something, right, guys?
Jose's blowing my
something.
ears out.
I didn't even say anything.
You've been saying stuff for the last 20 minutes.
Okay.
My ears are bleeding, so we're good.
Always something, but going back to that, they were able to move into the state playoffs against the D10 champions or runners-up, getting to host a playoff game. But that was a game in the championship game where Olivia Hussein did not play due to an ankle injury that occurred in practice, and that meant Cassidy Trahan wasn't the libero. It was Riley Costandino who did an excellent job in that, and then Sarah Catholic just looked dominant last night for 3 of the 4 sets. They were in patent kind of Sarah struggles sometimes after getting up 2 sets to none, maybe drop one a little too confident. And I think that's kind of what we saw last night. But the Eagles ended up bouncing back and taking it in 4, and now they're moving on to take on Elk County Catholic on Saturday, which is a 3-hour difference between schools. So either way, teams are traveling. It's not going to be close.
And you kind of expect that from the state playoffs. And, going back to the district championship, 13th team championship for the school at Sarah Catholic. First girls title since the 2005 basketball squad, of course, led by the legendary Bill Cleary. So a monumental championship for the Sarah Catholic Eagles as they're able to finish it off with their victory over Bishop Canevin. Congratulations to Sarah Catholic, continuing their run here now through the state playoffs. We did have another team that advanced to the state playoffs with the Fraser Commodores, a third-place consolation game over the Greensburg Central Catholic Centurions. Season ended last night, not the way that I'm sure the Commodores, a young team with only 1 senior on the roster, wanted it to end with a loss to Maplewood last night.
Yeah, the defending state champs.
Defending state champions. I believe it was, a 4-set loss?
4-set. Fraser won the first set 28-26 in extra points there, and then the wheels fell off. Let me see if I could pull up the quote from Coach Hartman, who we know Mandy so well. Let's see the quote.
I have it up there.
We just cracked on every level possible. I am furious because we are so weak in the mind. That wasn't in the quote. That wasn't quoted in the story. But, our mental approach to difficult situations is going to be a real focus going into next year. Bright side for Fraser, they lose only the 1 senior, Molly Yock, but that's a key part. And like Mandy said, Molly made a lot of them girls look great defensively. She's that good. Needless to say, defense will be worked on throughout the offseason for the Fraser Commodores. Not the way, just inconsistency, which is common with a young team. They had the semifinal loss to Bishop Canevin, but again, everybody I've talked to kind of feels like it was more, Fraser beating themselves in that game than it was Bishop Canevin beating them. Too many mistakes, too many mental errors, not dealing with adversity. But they come back, they lose the first set to GCC, and then they blow them out and win the next 3 to get to the state playoffs. Maplewood, not the same team they were last year when they won the same title, or when they won the state title. But, Coach Hartman thought they were a very beatable team, and she's just not happy. If you look at the game scores, I don't have them pulled up right now, but, it was, 25-14, 25-10. Maplewood kind of blew them out of the water the second and third set.
And Maplewood went in as the number 3 seed in the District 10 playoffs.
Right.
And, I did a lot of research on
7 losses, I think, this year, or 6 losses.
Yeah. I was doing a lot of looking into that, doing the Sarah Catholic game, of course, last night versus Cockerton, who was the 1 seed. And, it was kind of like, well, no one expects Maplewood to be here with how many seniors they lost off last year's roster. So it was either one of 2 things. Maplewood rebounded much quicker than everybody thought, or D10 is a lot weaker this year. And I think D10's a lot weaker this year. And that's something Fraser was hoping to take advantage of. And I thought maybe they had a chance. But as you said, Jeremy, kind of just let those mental lapses get the best of them.
Yeah, obviously we know they'll bounce back, and, they're going to be one of the favorites in Class A next year. But, there's still a lot of work to do. They're going to return a good lineup. But, looking at the stats from the last couple games, I don't see Grace Vaughn's name in there. What happened to her? Did she just kind of fall off and disappear? Maddie Salisbury, I think, between her and Addison Schultz kind of carried that team the last couple of weeks of the season in the 2 sophomores. So we'll see, what happens going forward for them. Disappointing end, but, those girls are tough. They're going to bounce back. And now, on the softball season there at Fraser. Unless I do know some of them play hoops, but, softball signups will be next week. So bounce back.
Yeah. as a few teams continue their run through the state playoffs now, 2 teams on the soccer side, 2 teams on the volleyball side as well, with Thomas Jefferson also advancing. So
yeah, they're taking on. It will be a tough. I mean, they're playing North Catholic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, so 2 teams on each side heading to the next round of the state playoffs. Best of luck to our 4 teams remaining on the soccer and volleyball side. We'll take a minute to kind of recap the week that was in football here in the Mon Valley. Of course, we mentioned Friday night didn't just belong to the football teams with Bentworth and Charleroi playing over at Highmark, but we did have some big first-round matchups. And as we kind of see every year with first-round matchups, quite a few lopsided games. I know, Jeremy, you had a more lopsided affair over in California, 44-6 victory over Jeanette, where the Trojans rushed for 367 yards without even having to throw a pass.
They didn't throw a pass, and even Coach Woods, who is a ground and pound kind of coach, he couldn't even remember the last game he didn't attempt to pass.
Yeah.
But yeah, all 367 yards on the ground. Spencer Petrucci, 205 of those. 22 carries. I mean, honestly, he's making a push for Offensive Player of the Year for our All-Stars as well. He entered the game with over 1,300 yards. Now he's up above 1,500. Jake Lehue, another good game. He rushed for over 120-something yards. I don't have it right in front of me, but another good game from him. And, California's defense, I talked to Coach Woods about it. They're putting up all the numbers offensively, but their defense is pretty impressive. When you got Lehue coming out from that safety position and just laying the wood on people, I mean, he had 2 interceptions, a forced fumble, and the recovery on a strip. Their defense is going to be tough, and, I would not be surprised to see them beat Canevin this week. Not at all.
This is a California team that kind of clicking on all cylinders right now. I mean, you look at all the weapons they have in that running game and, just the defensive effort that they've really relied on all season. This is a California team that, you wouldn't be shocked if they make a run toward a Whitfield championship. Talking a little bit about some Class 4A action. Thomas Jefferson, after their tough loss to McKeesport in their regular season finale with a pretty convincing victory over Kiski area, 57-13, 332 combined passing yards between Brody Evans and Luke Costco. And, we've talked a lot about this Thomas Jefferson team offensively, how much they rely on that passing game. We talked about it going into the McKeesport game, how much of an emphasis they were going to put on throwing the football. Obviously, you need some balance there, and they were going to rely on Elias Lippincott and some of their running backs to create that balance. But when Luke Costco and Brody Evans are slinging it like they are, this is a pretty dangerous team still.
Yeah, without
Alex
a
went
doubt.
out again.
Alex is out of commission again. But,
there we go.
It's the receiving core they have, any quarterback. They're going to make any quarterback look good, especially when you have 2 good quarterbacks. They can make them look great.
I mean, Costco went 5 for 5. When you have Sean Sullivan catching 3 touchdowns early on, White looked fantastic. I mean, Salmon, I feel like, didn't even necessarily get into the act offensively compared to the other ones. And in that game, it was just impressive. Sullivan was creating space, and Luke Costco, he throws an absolute beautiful ball as well. I mean, obviously, Brody Evans takes the majority of the snaps, it seems like. But that picture on the front page of that story, or the headline picture for the TJ game of Sean Sullivan catching that touchdown, that was from Costco. It was one of the most perfectly placed balls I have seen in a long time by a high school quarterback. And both of those guys complementing each other. And then Coach Turpak going with the 3-back system, just rotating 3 running backs in up and down the lineup, whether it had been Lippincott, then Whalen, and then Miller. Gavin Miller getting a lot of action. It was kind of just 1, 2, 3 right down the order, unless they got inside the red zone. Then that was left to the big body running back of Elias Lippincott, who had a 6-yard score in the game as well. But it was kind of a 3-back rotation for the Jaguars as they took care of business like they do after losses. I mean, that's kind of what TJ does. They allowed a number of splash plays in there, which you like to kind of eliminate, especially going into what is going to be a monumental matchup with Montour here this Friday night, as TJ is trying to make their 12th straight semifinal and hoping for a rematch with McKeesport.
And you mentioned those two wideouts. Sean Sullivan, 5 catches, 142 yards, and the 3 scores. Braden White, 3 catches, 105 yards. I mean, and if you
I think he had 2 touchdowns as well.
And he had 2 touchdowns as well. So you have, White more involved in this passing game as well, with Jason Solomon as well. I mean, this is a very lethal offensive attack. And I think the big thing for TJ is they have to play solid defense. And we saw in the second half of that McKeesport game, they were in that game because of that defensive effort. They gave up that 90-yard touchdown run, from Anthony Boyd. That's pretty much all McKeesport really got in the second half of that game. So, and we saw, Kane Egerton have a pick 6 in this game over Kiski, a 52-yard interception return for a touchdown. So, this TJ defense has to, continue to play well like it has. And, I wouldn't count out Bill Chirpak and TJ against this Montour team.
No, I think it's going to be a really, really good game on Friday night. It's going to be, I think maybe one of those you got to win the battle in the trenches to win that game. And, Montour may be the 3 seed, but also you have to remember Montour was an extra point away from dropping down to the 5 seed, and TJ was a win away against McKeesport from being the 2 seed. So, I mean, these teams maybe you look at it the 3-6 matchup, but very, very close to being opposite higher seeds or lower seeds for their respective teams. So I think that's going to be one of the best matchups in 4A all over the bracket. I mean, of course, maybe Mars, who's a lower caliber team, got the 4 seed, but kind of a weaker conference that Mars came out of compared to the Big 7 in the Parkway Conference.
Right.
Well, and the thing is for TJ, too, you can't beat yourself. You can't have the turnovers that you had against McKeesport. Which is really what did them in that game. Like you said, they gave up the 90-yard run.
But they will tell you that's a letdown.
Right. I mean, they threw a couple interceptions there. And, McKeesport's athleticism really hurt them, on the defensive side of the ball. So, as long as you don't turn the ball over, I think, TJ's going to find themselves in a really good position.
And you look at that. I was talking to Coach Battolini before the game, and he said, I don't know if you saw this, but he said 2 of those interceptions were Thomas Jefferson touchdowns taken off the board. And I said, absolutely, is on the one he threw into, I think, triple coverage, trying to force it to White. Evans did. He had Sean Sullivan over the middle, which would have been an easy walk-in score. And then you had the one Costco threw in the end zone that was returned for a pick 6 after the goal line stand. He lays that out a little more. Sean Sullivan, he's not getting caught. He's going the rest of the way. So you look at that. They kind of say, okay, more of a 21-7 score, because that 90-yard touchdown was a letdown, but also 2 big interceptions could have resulted in Thomas Jefferson touchdowns if maybe the right read was made.
Yeah, the one interception that was a play before the Anthony Boyd 90-yard touchdown. You're getting down in the prime field position with your running game. Did take a lot of time off the clock, which I think was a lot of people were kind of questioning, okay, well, time management here, you're down by two scores and you're taking time off the clock with your running game, but it was working for TJ, so in a way you can't really blame them for continuing to do that. And then it just kind of it was a deflating thing to see a pick in the end zone, and then one play later Anthony Boyd kind of putting it out of reach. And
you also wonder, okay, is that an instance where you kind of feel like the game's out of reach at that point if you're Thomas Jefferson, and you're realizing, let's start figuring out if we get this matchup again, what works? And I'm not saying they're giving up on a game, but let's figure out where are these weaknesses, even though running the football is taking up a lot of time. It's what's moving the ball. Is this what we're going to have to do if we get a semifinal matchup with McKeesport to try to get to the district title game? Right,
and that's, I think, something that they were able to do. They were able to see that they were able to run the football effectively. You got to give credit to McKeesport, the
so
secondary.
Good.
I mean, what they were able to do and the way that they were able to kind of contain the Thomas Jefferson passing attack was pretty impressive.
Other games, Sarah does not like Norwin High School.
Sarah does not like Norwin High School. Did get to go back to my alma mater. We will get back to that in a second.
Knights.
But Sarah Catholic, a 38-21 loss to Western Beaver. This is a Sarah Catholic team that in that third quarter, 62-yard pass from Quadir Stribling to Darion Washington, took a 21-17 lead. I mean, they were right there. They were hanging with Western Beaver. It was a 17-14 Western Beaver lead at the half, but Sarah was right there into it, and I think it was just a matter of them kind of running out of steam. Western Beaver, 21 unanswered points, 6-yard touchdown run from Tyson Florence, and he had an 85-yard touchdown pass from Javen Peel over to Dorian McGee. Peel, one of the top passers in the WPIL as a freshman, and then a late DeAndre Robinson touchdown run that kind of put things out of reach. But just one of those games where Sarah just kind of ran out of gas, and you kind of see it on the sideline. They don't have a ton of bodies, but the guys that were on the field, gave it what they had. And Tyson Florence was a big factor for Western Beaver. 30 carries, 231 yards, the 2 scores. Peel only threw 16 passes, completed 7 of them, but threw for 191 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Quadir Stribling, did what he did, 267 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns for him. Darion Washington, his top target, 5 catches, 111 yards, and then Jazir Young had 3 catches for 79 yards. Do have to give a shout out to Quadir Stribling for breaking the school record in passing yards as well. We got notice of that actually this morning from offensive coordinator Mick Bettler. Max Rocco had the previous record for single-season passing yards of 2,317. Quadir Stribling finishes his season in only 9 games with 2,488 passing yards.
Yeah, those were 2 of the better passing quarterbacks in the WPL that went off on Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, I was reading some articles about how many total yards those 2 had, and was Rocco's in the championship year?
Yes.
So think about that.
So.
All those games that Max Rocco played, obviously he did get injured against Steel Valley. Didn't play the second half. Elijah Ward played that. Didn't play the first round game. But they still went to the district title. They still went to the state title. So Quadir Stribling won 1 less regular season game, and playing just the first round did that. He, can absolutely sling the football around for that Sarah Catholic Eagles squad.
Yeah, and he completed 65% of his passes this season, averaged 14.6 yards per pass, 276 yards per game, also threw 27 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Darion Washington with a great season, 41 receptions for 965 yards and 14 touchdowns. And then Jazir Young, 615 in terms of yardage, led the team with 47 catches and had 7 scores. So
now, Jose, hear me out. Can we get that arm in left field for Coach Zorenda? It doesn't have to hit. You can use DH.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm not the one to ask.
Hey, we saw Max Rocco with a big-time arm out on left field for the Eagles. Maybe.
And he was on the mound, too. Maybe we can get Stribling on the mound this
I don't know. We saw Coach Zorenda last night, Coach Williman, at that volleyball contest.
I talked to Coach Williman for a little bit, and I told him that was the first time I've ever seen him inside Sarah Catholic High School, because I'm always seeing him over in McKeesport for games.
Of course, a lot of his girls on that volleyball team.
Yes. So Sarah Catholic, 4-6 record overall on the season as they get eliminated in the first round by a good Western Beaver team. They're going to have to be pretty good Friday night because they got top-seeded Steel Valley in the quarterfinals at Steel Valley.
Yeah,
so,
Ironmen are always tough.
Yeah. Other Class 1A matchups, Clareton 44-7 over Laurel, Southside Beaver 39-0 over Monessen, as we look forward to the quarterfinals of the WPIL playoffs. 2 teams in 4A, 2 teams in 3A, and 2 teams over in 1A remaining as well. As Friday's schedule includes Trinity at McKeesport in 4A, Thomas Jefferson at Montour in 3A. We have Deer Lakes at Belle Vernon, of course the Leopards with a first-round bye, as well as the McKeesport Tigers, and Elizabeth Ford hosting a game against a tough West Mifflin team in their challenging running attack. And then in 1A, of course.
That's a rematch from earlier this year.
Yes. And then 1A, of course, we have Clareton taking on Union, 2 9-2 teams going head-to-head, and then Bishop Canevin at 8-1 taking on the California Trojans at 10-1.
I think California, we talked about those. I think they want to truly be that next team, first team since that school, Cal, was a Tri-County South semifinalist, and I think they have the ability to do so. And a matchup I really hope we get to see as well in 1A. I'd love to see the Clareton offense versus that Southside defense. I mean, that's a very good defense by Southside and a very good offense by the Clareton Bears. That'd be not a fun one to watch. But, Jose, we've talked a lot about, all 3 of us, about how good Ryan Messina's been this year. And, obviously he's getting the local spotlight. And everyone knows the players on Belle Vernon and how good they are. Everyone knows how good Charlie Niggett, along with B-Live and Climbs are. But Ryan Messina now starting to get some love from the 3A world outside, seeing he was nominated for a couple of 3A Player of the Year awards. So, it's just great to see the young sophomore getting some recognition that's not just local as well. It's everyone's starting to acknowledge really what he's been able to do for EF this year. And I know they've taken personally a lot of people saying they're going to lose on Friday night.
Yeah, and I think, this is a kid who, as the season has gone on, has really progressed. And, Coach DeMarco has given a lot of credit, of course, to offensive coordinator Tony Santangelo and the way that he's kind of scripted the game plan to, ease Ryan Messina into things. And, it wasn't a situation where he had to take on more of a role early on. It's as the season has progressed, he's gotten more involved, and EF has benefited from it. Going to be a tough matchup Friday night against this West Mifflin team. Of course, we have heard so much about their running attack and what Armand Hill has done this season. Has run for over 1,100 yards this year. Delron White has over 100 carries for almost 700 yards of his own. So this is definitely going to be a tough test for the Elizabeth Forward defense. But you also look at what EF has been able to do on the offensive side of the ball. And the motivation that this EF team has after last year's quarterfinal exit. I think this is going to be a motivated group, hoping that wanting to prove that this isn't going to happen again.
Well, and you take into effect too, I mean, Elizabeth Ford's not playing somebody they're unfamiliar with.
Right.
They went to West Mifflin in week 0 or week 1 and beat the Titans on their home field. Mm-hmm. So. And obviously both teams are a little bit better. Like you mentioned, Hill, has broken out as a running back, but I still don't think he's faced a defense that he's going to face in Elizabeth Forward.
And that's the thing, too, is, we always talk about early season matchups. Both of these teams are very different than what they were at that point in time. I think Ryan Messina is a different quarterback. I think Charlie Niggett has taken his game to another level. And this is, I think, a time of year where guys like Charlie Melab and Christopher Climbs kind of take their game to another level as well. So
and it was week 1. We talked about, I know the couple times that I've talked to Coach DeMarco, every game Messina has just improved and improved and improved and improved. I mean, what was he doing in week 1? Missing passes, not
throwing the ball as much.
Not throwing the ball as much. I mean, we're seeing him now with 15. I think he had 19 pass attempts against Bell Vernon 2 weeks ago. So, he's getting a better grasp of that offense. Coach Santangelo's offense. So,
And EF has the home field advantage,
They
too.
have the home field advantage.
And like it's not supposed to rain like it did last year either.
Exactly. And like Coach DeMarco said, part of the issue last year was, leading up to the Bell Vernon game, they talked about Bell Vernon, and partially because of us. We anointed Bell Vernon and EF were going to play for the conference championship in that last week. We kind of did it again, but that wasn't the focus of their team this year. It was 1 week at a time.
Right.
And, I think they were kind of taken aback when they went into that game against Shadyside Academy. They were, beaten down. But I think they have a new mentality heading into this week.
And I think that EF should take some confidence from that Bell Vernon game.
Absolutely.
I mean, through that first half, nobody had played Bell Vernon in that conference in 3A as tightly as EF did. And even in the second half, they showed glimpses of how good this team actually is. So I think that this is a team that, even though they didn't get the result they wanted against Bell Vernon, got to take some positivity from that matchup with the defending Whitfield and state champions, and you got to bring it into this matchup against West Mifflin. I mean, this is a EF team that should be confident. You're not looking ahead to the semifinals. You're looking just at this quarterfinal matchup with West Mifflin, and hope that you get the result that you want.
And that's where teams are successful, when they don't look ahead, when they don't look at outside sources and say, okay, focus at the task at hand, then we'll move on to the next one.
Right. Looking ahead at our coverage schedule for Friday night, you mentioned the California Bishop Canevin game. That'll be over at Norwood High School. Adam Brewer will have coverage of that one for us. I'll be heading over to Elizabeth Forward for that matchup against West Mifflin. Jeremy and Mike will be heading over to Bell Vernon for that match against Deer Lakes. Liam Bellin and Jeff Helsel will be at McKeesport for their matchup against Trinity, and we'll have coverage of the Montour Thomas Jefferson game via our friends over at the Trib as well.
And we will have coverage of the Union Clareton game now as well. So every game featuring a Valley team will be covered this week.
We'll have you covered for all the action on Friday nights. Be sure to hop over to MVI Live for MVI Live on NFHS for coverage of the Bell Vernon game as well. We'll have a full stream there on NFHS, which we've been able to do over the last week with Sarah Catholic Volleyball last night as well. So very thankful for that partnership and being able to provide even more coverage than we have already with our print coverage and everything like that. So very happy to do that. So
Yeah. What else is on the docket?
I do have to give a shout out to the other WPIAL champions. Go Knights.
Oh,
The
geez.
Norwood Knights, their first WPIAL championship in boys soccer. Got to give it up to them, right?
That's
guys?
only
Come
their
on.
first one?
Well, I
On
think
the
it's
boys.
their
It's always
first one on the
been-
boys side.
It's
yeah.
always been the girls.
The
Yeah.
girls have been so
The girls
good.
have
The
always
boys
been
and girls soccer has always been huge over at Norwood, but
I mean, you had the Colano sisters. You had Emily
Yeah.
Harrigan, who went. I mean, she was Pitt,
mean,
Rutgers.
even when I was there, the boys and girls soccer were just phenomenal. And I when I was there, it was like girls track was a dynasty, and then you had the soccer teams that were solid. We had good baseball teams. The baseball programs are always good there. But shout out to the Knights
and
pulling it
Jose's
off.
younger brother going to bring them back to greatness, right?
We'll see. Let's see what he can do heading into his junior season. Got some starting time as a sophomore last year at the varsity level. We'll see what he can do this year. Come on, Nate, you can do it, buddy. But yeah, I mean, a huge win for the Norwood Knights and got their first state playoff win as well last night.
A big win for them last night. But shout out to Mon Valley local and MVI, one of our favorites that we got to deal with. Bryce Epps, first college basketball game tonight for La Roche.
Yeah, he's. I saw his tweet this morning that kind of goes by very fast that he's getting to suit up for the first time with La Roche. So
Bryce was always fantastic to work with when we had to here at the Mon Valley Independent. I know always anytime I needed something from him, he was more than willing to talk to me. So congratulations to Bryce playing at the next level for the first time here tonight for La Roche. So great to see another local guy starting his collegiate career.
One of the best players that we've seen at the high school level.
All-time leading scorer.
All-time leading scorer at South Allegheny. Great career, and best of luck to him tonight as he suits up for La Roche. Got to have our Vulcan segment always every week. We've
another big game for Bobby Boyd.
Another huge game for Bobby Boyd against a very good Gannon team as Cal comes away with a 34-17 win. Boyd, 18 carries, 100 rushing yards, 300-plus rushing yards over the last 2 weeks if you count the Mercyhurst game as well. And even Eric McCann, 11 carries, 86 yards. Isaiah Cameron had 48 yards on the ground in the touchdown. So Cal's running game starting to heat up here when it matters most. Davis Black, 12 of 22 for 200 yards and 2 scores for him. But this is a Cal team that has bounced back nicely since that Slippery Rock loss with victories over Mercyhurst and Gannon, but doesn't get any easier. East Stroudsburg with a solid season for them this year, and another road test here for California this weekend.
The Vulcans could very well find themselves in the NCAA tournament.
Yes.
Come next week because they're sitting 2 of the teams in front of them in the regional rankings lost. East Stroudsburg being one of those. And they're up to number 4. So if they can stay in that top 7, they'll get the bid. And, they fall in that number 4 spot. They might even host a game. So.
Yeah.
And you look at it with, I think something, you talk about how good Bobby Boyd's been. I think he's proven all those schools that kind of maybe overlooked him coming out of high school. Well, you guys were wrong. And Bobby Boyd was the real deal in high school. We saw it. And I just don't think he got the love he truly deserved. And maybe his size had a lot to do with it, but, still, Bobby Boyd proving he is that guy at the next level.
And I got to tell you, everybody over at that school, whether it's people surrounding the program, even got the guys up in the press box, they rave about him. And not even just his on-field ability, but just the kid that he is. And, he's just very well liked within this program, and he's a kid who has a very bright future. I mean, we've seen it now throughout his freshman season. Every time that he's gotten an opportunity, he's taken advantage of it. Every time that he's had some struggles, he comes back next week and just runs for 200-plus yards or does whatever he does.
Is he the next PSAC standout to maybe make a name for himself out? I mean, we see all the clout this year around that.
Yeah,
but in the NFL, maybe Bobby Boyd makes his name.
Yeah, I mean, but even if he doesn't, I mean, how many Cal guys are playing in the NFL? I mean, this is a program where you're going to be seen if you're that good, and Bobby Boyd's that good. He doesn't let any questions about his size get in the way of his performance, and he's a kid who's he might be undersized, but he's going to run you over, and he's going to do whatever it takes to gain yardage, find the end zone for his team.
Yeah, I agree. Not saying nothing. Speaking of, former Cal U, Jaquay Jackson with an awesome touchdown catch this week for Rutgers against Ohio State.
Having a big year over at Rutgers for Jaquay Jackson. Of course, a standout over the last couple seasons for the California Vulcans, and cool to see.
Absolutely. I still hate the transfer portal, though.
I do too.
No, I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
Like Bobby Boyd, slow down a little bit, bro. Stay at Cal for a few more years.
But that's the thing, I think, with the transfer portal, I think everybody's mindset is, going D1.
Right.
But, man, there's so much talent in the PSAC. There's so much talent at the Division II level. You're going to be seen.
And
without a doubt.
No matter where you are.
I think you look at that, too. Do you have a better shot at staying at Cal, being the number one guy, than being a split back with somebody else at a D1 level?
Right.
I mean, you might get a better opportunity just because you're playing, you're being seen, you're putting film, on the screen. You're not just sitting on the bench sideline. Yeah, you're there, you're at the D1 level, but are you performing? Are you playing?
Bobby has gotten an immediate opportunity while not taking over full time. Like, you look at it, like Eric McCann still has a huge role, in this running attack. I mean, I still think he's technically the starter. Right. And he has put up big numbers. We saw Isaiah Cameron actually come into the running. So, like, multiple guys are getting a chance to shine at the same time right now.
And that's what, what's good about what's bad about the transfer portal is also what's good about the transfer portal. Yeah. Is, some of these guys are getting an opportunity sooner. Like you mentioned that Boyd is, and Davis Black is. He's still what? He's still pretty young, right? Is he a junior?
I believe he's a junior. I think he was a starter as a sophomore last year.
Right. So you're getting these guys that come right into these D2 or small D1 programs or the FCS programs, or and they're making noise immediately because kids are transferring out. The bad thing about the transfer portal is kids are always like, oh, if I'm not going to play, I'm just going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Arch Manning.
I don't want to do the work, so I'm going somewhere else.
And I'll tell you what, something that I think is good for teams in the PSAC, teams for Division II teams. Look at what Tyson Bajent's doing right now, and what he was able to do over at Shepherd. He got noticed. He's right now at the moment the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears. I mean, he's
not doing any worse than Justin Fields. I'll tell you that.
And he got an opportunity and he's taking the most of it, and making the most of it. And he came from a PSAC school in Shepherd, and now you see what he's doing now. So
I said I liked it when you could get those JUCO guys can come in, transfer up if they wanted to the D1 level, and not necessarily be punished because you're going from lower to higher level. But now it's just everybody can move just if they don't like the situation. No one commits to schools anymore; they commit to coaches. I mean, that's a big thing now. You see, anytime a coach leaves, well, there goes half the program with him, Caleb Williams, and I mean, it's just. Now that, Quinn Ewers got hurt after he didn't like going into a room with 3 other 5-star quarterbacks, well, that was your decision first off. You transferred to Texas. You're making the most of it. But now that Arch Manning's not playing and it's McCain playing, or I believe that's his name, it's still the other quarterback on the Texas roster. Now it's, where's Arch Manning going to transfer to? Is it going to be Alabama? Is it going to be here? And it's like, come on. You made your bed. You chose to go there.
And it's not a new issue. I mean, we've seen it with the current. Look at the current stars in the NFL right now. Joe Burrow was a transfer. Jalen Hurts was a transfer.
And I don't mind the grad transfer either, because Hurts was a grad transfer, and Burrow never played a snap. I think at least at
I don't think
big
he
time.
played at Ohio State.
He probably played in the spring game and stuff like that for Ohio State. But
I think
he
Baker
wasn't
Mayfield was a transfer. Kyler Murray.
Baker was a walk-on, though. Again, that's another scenario. Baker didn't have a scholarship, started an entire year at Texas Tech, and they still didn't give him a scholarship.
Was Kyler a transfer, too?
Kyler
or was he a walk-on at Georgia?
Kyler, I'm not sure, but he had all the basics.
No, Justin Fields actually played at Georgia.
Yeah. Justin Fields committed to Penn State, then decommitted, then committed to Georgia. They played him splitting snaps, didn't like it, then transferred to Ohio State.
I wasn't thinking of Kyler Murray. I was thinking of Justin Fields.
Yeah. It's funny. It kills me that they call these commitments. And
you're not committed.
It's literally not the definition of the word.
As we talk about that, as a lot of our local kids are signing their NLIs today to play at schools. But it's not a commitment anymore, and that's what I don't like about it.
Instead, you commit to a coach, and as soon as the coach leaves, there goes that program with it, basically.
Right. And like me, for instance, since the late 80s, I've always liked the Duke basketball team. And now it's like the one and dones are just, they kill everything.
ruin it.
But who's always there at the end? It's the team that has like 3 seniors.
Hey, at least Filipowski's still there.
Let me sit. They look real good the other
But
day.
I mean, and here's how the wild thing is about it. When one coach leaves, it doesn't just affect one program. You're affecting 3, 4 programs, because look at the classic case, and I know you're a Duke guy, but look at the Penn State Notre Dame VCU situation, where now that's affecting 3 massive programs, because Shrewsbury takes all his kids from Penn State with him.
Yep.
Now, where are those kids from Notre Dame supposed to go? Because Shrewsbury's bringing his own group in. Rhodes comes in from VCU.
He's bringing his luggage. It's not quite Louis, but,
No. And same thing, Rhodes comes in. He brings in Ace Baldwin, who was his best player in some other company. And now you're looking, well, where's the kids from VCU going to play? Who's taking over that? So it's like an ongoing chain effect. And I think that was just an easy one to think of, because, it just happened this past year that you see all these instances affect multiple programs. A coach leaving affects 3, 4 programs, because then another coach leaves and everyone wants to go with the coach. It's no longer to the school.
Yep, it's a vicious cycle.
It is.
But
it's the world we live in.
It's the world we live in, and
we just need to destroy the NCAA. It's a joke.
That sounds like a supervillain type of thing.
I am the villain here, don't we know?
But moving on, do we have
the Bleacher Creature?
We do have some Bleacher Creatures. Speaking of Bleacher Creature, we got to get the merch.
I wonder if I can, Jeremy, if I can hurry while you're talking, maybe I can get a picture on the screen.
Yeah, there you go. We got the merch started. While I'm talking, I'll get to the letter here. The Bleacher Creature has his own mailbox now, so he just drops his deliveries in once, maybe twice a week sometimes. So here we go. Bleacher Creature Volume, 4? 3?
Jose did 2. It's at least 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's like 5 or 6 at this point.
Bleacher Creature Chapter 6. Kids these days, things are different and the art of talking crap has been lost. While floating around on Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter, I've noticed multiple times that a little school in Fayette County has kids who talk crap on a single-A school losing in the finals. It's very odd when this school continues to lose it to the same single-A school. Personal pet peeve of mine, Steelers gear when they aren't playing. It just drives me nuts. Save that Jeff Reed jersey for game day and not a trip to Aldi. Accountability. The Bleacher Creature likes to see it, and it doesn't happen often enough. That goes for players and the coaching staffs. The Bleacher Creature does want to tip his hat to the veterans. We appreciate you as Veterans Day approaches this weekend and Monday. And, quote, is it hoop season yet? Until next week.
The Bleacher Creature.
Always lurking.
I do agree with the whole jersey thing. In particular, at sporting events that don't include that.
You mean those people that wear Steeler jerseys, the Penguin games,
or Pirate games, or
the only acceptable is the Pirate hat.
Okay, a hat.
Because it's Pittsburgh.
Yeah, a hat's okay. But if you're wearing like a Pirate jersey, well, no one will wear a Pirate jersey to a Steeler game. But like if you're wearing like a Steeler jersey to a Penguin game, don't. Also, if you're wearing like a jersey of a team that's not playing, like someone who wears like a Yankee jersey to like a Pirates Reds game, stop. Don't do that.
That is why Yankee fans are so annoying.
You're going to give it a
it's
stop
just like,
at Jose?
Just don't do it. Like, why are you even thinking about it? Like, what makes somebody wake up in the morning like, oh, Pirates Reds play today?
Go wear my Yankee jersey.
Wear my Aaron Judge jersey today. Like, for what reason? It makes no sense.
Now, see, the only faux pas I've ever really committed is, because I have an American League team, which is similar to you. It's the Red Sox.
Yep.
I have a National League team. It's the Pirates. I may have worn the Pirate shirt with a Red Sox hat when they played at
I did one. Yeah,
PNC
I
Park,
did at times do
that.
Yeah.
Just because they were playing each other, that's okay.
Right, but that's fine.
But if I go to a Cubs game with a Red Sox hat and a Pirates jersey on, just please throw me out.
No, don't do that. I mean, I will give a pass to anybody who wants to wear a Red Sox jersey to a Yankees Pirate game.
Yes.
Because you're just proving, you're just saying an F off to the Yankees. So
should we?
Yeah, let's show it up. We got the new gear, of course. Will be on sale. It currently is on sale. Right?
I do need the orders. Where I'm going to try to place the orders Monday, so you guys get your orders in, and then we will collect. But Well, we could
The
Venmo.
official Valley Sports Guys Bleacher
Where are you-
Creature
Where are you
T-shirt.
showing your finger at?
At the
You're not wide
at the
enough
shirt.
there.
I'm going.
You're
oh.
behind the shirt. You should just. You
Yeah,
shoulda-
I'm pointing
you
at
shoulda
it.
ma-
I'm
you-
pointing at it right now.
There you go.
You should have made.
I was
it,
doing that.
You should have made it so his head could pop up above the shirt. So there's the Bleacher Creature merch that we're gonna have, and we're trying to get some more merch out there. It's kind of a path we're trying to take here to just kind of fulfill our brand. There, I have seen some Valley Sports Guys podcast shirts out there.
See, I was pointing at it
it-
directly, and then you pushed me the other way.
It looked wrong, Jose.
I knew what I was doing. See, you made me point the other way,
I did.
and then I was like, nope, I'm going back this way.
Yeah, so we're gonna try to brand this a little bit more, and it's all gonna start with our buddy the Bleacher Creature and the shirts. So get your orders in now. You could DM us at MVI Sports on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna call it Twitter because I'm old.
I haven't even updated yet, so mine's still the Twitter bird.
And let us know in the chat. Let us know on social media how you would feel about a Step Brothers brand T-shirt.
We already have that picture taken.
We have the picture. We had the picture taken like 4 years ago
Yes.
of me and Jeremy. Would you wear a shirt with our faces on it, basically replicating the Step Brothers?
Just be careful
photo?
where you wear it if it got my shirt on. If
Yeah,
it got
I mean,
my
if
face on it, be careful.
You could just put a piece of tape over Jeremy's face. My face is good. It's lovable. So, anything else you guys want to touch on before we wrap things up?
Big game last night for Jenna Clark, the former TJ point guard, came back to Pittsburgh with the Yale team. They lost to Pitt, but I think she had 19 points or something. She was their leading scorer. I saw it pop up on ESPN, alert that I get for all the Pitt sports and stuff. So congratulations to her doing good things. Obviously, she got a bright future ahead playing basketball, but playing at Yale and getting a Yale education. So congratulations to her on that. Big games this weekend I'm looking forward to on Friday night. See what else we got here. Oh, we got a notification.
Do you want to say over the next couple of days, be sure to take a look at some, we'll have some previews for the Cal women and men's basketball teams, the upcoming seasons. Of course, a lot of expectations for the Vulcans
I think
coming into the winter.
Women predicted first in the West.
I think the men were second.
Nothing new. Men predicted second. That's new.
That's a huge thing. It's a huge
That's
thing.
a big thing because Cal U, back in the 90s were the team to beat all the time, and the PSAC, and now it's been IUP.
It's starting to become Danny Sankum's program, and he's turning it around and into where it was.
They play a fun brand of basketball. I'm going to try to, maybe get Kenzie and one of her friends or a couple of girls from the 6th grade team to go down and watch the women play this weekend. They're hosting the MEC PSAC Challenge Tournament. So they play West Virginia State and then Charleston on Sunday. West Virginia State Saturday night at 7, and then Charleston on Sunday. So
time's the game on Sunday?
I don't know Sundays. Probably afternoon. Probably an afternoon game.
Might head up there.
We have
what my schedule looks like.
State playoff games. We don't know where and when yet on Saturday. Hopefully we can get somebody to cover. I know Adam Brewer's available on Saturday for us. I think Jeff Helsel's available from pictures. We should have one close game in Bentworth, so look for that as well. And volleyball still heading out there, so Sarah Catholic's still on the court. So.
Yeah, we'll have some previews of this Friday's action as well in Friday's edition of the Mon Valley Independent. So be sure to pick up a copy the next couple of days for some preview stories and get you set for.
And we're going to have a new coach.
Friday night.
New coach at EF for the girls basketball team.
Yeah, scheduled to put a vote tonight at the school board meeting.
We've got our ear to the ground, and all we could tell you is they did go outside of the district, so it's not any former assistants or anything like that. So we'll have a story on that. Hopefully, if we can get the story done tonight, be in tomorrow's paper since they're hiring tonight. So. That'll be exciting because whoever walks into that situation is walking into a very good situation.
A very good situation, a lot of talent, and should be exciting to see what the Warriors can do this winter.
Without a doubt. So. And but that's all I got. I mean, I don't.
Inching closer, MVI Shootout Classic Year 3. Always just gonna keep bringing
another meeting because obviously we've had some schedule shifts. I know a couple schools have asked, who are we playing? just give us one more week. A week from today, everything will be finalized. We have to try to plan our media day. That's another thing I got to talk to Naz about. But I think we're going to look for the, the 19th? But the issue is I have a birthday dinner that afternoon. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll get it figured out. Other than that, I don't have anything else, boys. Yeah. I think we're right on the hour mark.
Yeah, I think we can wrap things up. One episode closer to 100. Very excited to get to that mark as well as we continue to make the podcast bigger and better. I feel like every episode. I can't thank all of our loyal viewers enough. I mean, even if you're not watching live and you're just watching on replay, we appreciate it. We appreciate the support more than you know. It's unbelievable the amount of support that we've gotten with the podcast over since the beginning. So it means a lot to us.
Get your Bleacher Creature merch.
Get your Bleacher Creature merch. Be sure to subscribe here on our YouTube channel if you have not. Be sure to tune in Friday night on NFHS for coverage of the Bell Vernon game. Be sure to give
subscribe would be like right here. Trying to judge it off your screen, Jose.
Be sure to follow along on social media Friday night and for coverage from us for our print edition. And got to give a shout out to, of course, our loyal sponsors for football season, Planet Roof, E-Paints, and Highway Appliance. We appreciate your support as always. So thank you again to His Place Coffee Community and more in Monessen for allowing us to come in here every single Wednesday and spout our nonsense as usual. And if you haven't come in here. Like, get a cup of coffee.
You don't necessarily have to walk in the room.
You don't have to
us.
walk into this room.
I mean, unless you want to, be where the magic happens.
We're always willing to have a live audience. If you ever want to come down here and just hang with us, feel free. We love the company. But yeah, if you haven't come down here, it's a great place. Get some coffee. Nice kind of chill environment to kind of just relax.
Be like Jose and play the Rush Hour board game for like 2
honestly,
hours.
there have been times where I just sit out there sometimes, eat a panini, and play the little Rush Hour game on the table.
I highly recommend the iced Snickerdoodle latte.
Iced Snickerdoodle. I always get the white mocha.
Do we have the Christmas ones ready yet?
Oh yeah, they started. Christmas drinks started today.
My daughter asked me. She's like, "When are we gonna go before school? I want a peppermint." Oh yeah, whatever.
Oh yeah, Christmas started today. I was working with Ashley yesterday, figuring out the Christmas menu. So that's starting today. So.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you all for tuning in once again. For Jeremy Salou, for Alex Lyons, I'm Jose Negron. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, everybody. We'll see you next week.